Okay, today we're doing Last Battle, and this is C.S. Lewis. This is the last book in the Narnia series, and I don't know, it might be my favorite, and there's still a couple I need to finish in the series. Of course, Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe is awesome. It will always be awesome. Last Battle is one that isn't read as often, and it's symbolic of last days. You know, he's a Christian. Obviously, this is the great battle at the end of the world, and then the world ends, and then heaven begins. And, you know, regardless of where you stand religiously about in all those things, there's some credible. The book starts out with a donkey and an ape. And they're next to the, I think it's called Cauldron Pool. Yeah, Cauldron Pool. And the ape sees something floating in the water, and he asks the donkey to go over there and look and see what it is. And it's a lion skin, and he tells the donkey to pull out. Anyway, this whole interchange happens, and it's incredible. If you read just that first couple chapters and really dissect it, it's incredible relationship information and principles. It's a great, those two chapters are super valuable to read with youth or even younger children and discuss, okay, what is manipulation, and how do people manipulate other people, and why do they manipulate other people, and how do you avoid being manipulated, right? So that's really, really valuable. And then it goes into this section where there's a king, and a centaur, I think, comes to see him, and the centaur has been reading the stars, and this is all symbolic, religious symbolism about being aware of. You could look at it as natural laws, or you could look at it as prophecies and scripture. I think that's probably how Lewis meant it. But then there's this really cool interchange between the centaur and the king about their preparation for this moment. So what happens is that, of course, in the Narnia series, the god figure is a lion, and so what the ape does in this interchange between him and the donkey, and this manipulation that goes on and deception, is that he convinces the donkey to put on the lion skin, and so everyone thinks that Aslan has returned to Narnia. And there's all this confusion about what they should do, and Tyrion hears about it, the King Tyrion, he hears about it, the centaur comes, etc., etc. And so they have this discussion, the centaur and the king, about, well, what does it mean? And is it really Aslan? And if so, what are we supposed to do about it? And it's incredible because the centaur's got this lifetime of preparation, and King Tyrion keeps saying, He and Jewel, his unicorn, Jewel says something like, well, you know, he's not a tame lion. We know he's not a tame lion. And they're misquoting their quote-unquote scripture, and they misunderstand the very nature of God or Aslan, and it leads them to make really rash decisions. In fact, one of the chapters is, I think it's called Rashness of the King, and he goes off and does his thing, and he gets himself in a whole lot more trouble, and then C.S. Lewis takes a moment to talk about the value of waiting and thinking before you act, and then the whole rest of the story plays out from these first few chapters that set it up. It's a really, of course, it's really simple language. It's a children's classic. Anybody can read it. I use it in adult book discussions all the time, and there's all this depth. Often people don't understand what it means that he's a tame lion. And you look for the symbolism, the relationships, the deception, manipulation. And if you look at all the animals gather, and this donkey that's dressed up as Aslan, that's in this lion skin, is there. And if you think about it as the world today, and authority figures, and who you're listening to, and why you're listening to them, and why they're considered an authority, and whether or not they really have the answers, and how the different animals respond. It's really kind of fascinating to think. It's interesting to have a discussion about, well, which animal are you? How are you responding to in this in this modern world when there's all these different authorities shouting answers to you and telling you that they know what you should do and how you should behave and what the answers are. How do you know who to listen to? How do you discern? So it's very valuable reading, and I always have really, really great discussions. There's also a character at the end who displays great courage, but he's of a different religious background, and how that's resolved is really interesting too. So The Last Battle, I highly recommend it. I recommend that all the time, that adult book groups, as they get started, read this as one of their first books. Truth is a key principle, concept, I guess, theme of this book. What is the truth? Who knows the truth? What price do they pay to know the truth? And what responsibilities do they have once they know what the truth is? That's a really important thing to discuss and to think about. So grab it and read it, and it is again a great discussion book. And look for those themes of deception and truth and manipulation and authority to help you gain a better understanding of what's going on in the world today. We'll see you next time.